All right, so let's jump right in. Today's deep dive, well, it's all about AI and jobs. Specifically, like which jobs are really on the chopping block as AI gets, more and more powerful.
Yeah, it's a big question on a lot of people's minds.
Definitely, definitely. So to help us break it all down, we've got some incredible insights from Chandra Mast.
Now, she's a certified general real estate appraiser.
You got that right.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. She's also been keeping a close eye on all the crazy AI stuff happening.
Oh, yeah, she's way ahead of the curve on this.
So we're not just talking real estate here, folks. Chandra's got her finger on the pulse of how AI is, well, shaking things up pretty much everywhere.
Like across all industries.
Yeah.
And she makes a really good point that it's not like, boom, robots are taking over.
Right.
It's more of a gradual thing, like a process.
Okay, interesting. So how does she see this process playing out?
So she breaks it down into 4 phases. The first one is exploration.
Exploration, okay.
And that's where companies kind of dip their toes in. They do some pilot projects with AI.
Right, they're testing the waters.
Exactly. Then you've got the cost reduction phase where it's all about automating tasks and saving money.
Ah, so this is where people start to get a little nervous, right?
Yeah, because that's when the whole robots are stealing our jobs thing starts to feel real.
I can definitely see that.
But here's the thing. She emphasizes that AI isn't just about cutting costs.
Okay, there's more to it.
Way more. There's this whole other phase she calls innovation and expansion. That's where AI helps companies do way more than they could before.
So like what kind of more? Can you give us an example?
Think about marketing teams, right? With AI, they can suddenly create like 10 times the content.
Whoa, 10 times. That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't that require a whole new set of skills for those marketing folks?
Oh, absolutely. And that kind of leads us to the final phase, outperformance. This is where the companies that really embrace AI, they become the leaders.
The top dogs.
Yeah, exactly. They're not just keeping up, they're setting the pace.
So it's like AI is both a threat and an opportunity, depending on how you approach it.
I think that's a really good way to put it. It's definitely changing the game.
So while some jobs are clearly on the line,
Mm,
AI is also opening up new doors and changing the skills needed for the jobs that'll stick around.
that's the key takeaway, I think. It's not a simple black and white situation.
All right, so let's get down to brass tacks. Which jobs are actually, most at risk in this whole AI shakeup?
Well, based on what Chandra's seeing, customer support reps are definitely high on the list.
Really? Why them?
Well, think about all those chatbots you run into online these days.
Oh, yeah, they're everywhere.
Right. They're already handling a ton of customer inquiries, especially the basic repetitive stuff.
I've definitely had those conversations where I'm like, wait, am I talking to a robot?
Uh-huh, yeah. And those are the kinds of interactions that companies are using AI to, well, maybe not replace entirely.
But definitely streamline.
Yeah, exactly. So like Klarna, they use chatbots to handle a lot of the initial customer stuff.
Oh.
This frees up their human reps to focus on the more complicated issues, the stuff that needs that personal touch.
So it's not about AI taking over completely. It's more about AI changing how the job is done.
I think that's a crucial distinction. And it's not just customer service either.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, yeah, there's a whole list. Data entry clerks, for instance.
Data entry, okay.
They're feeling the heat, too, because, well, let's face it, automation is just faster and more accurate when it comes to handling lots of data.
Makes sense. It's tough to beat a machine on speed and accuracy.
And then there's retail cashiers.
Ah, the self-checkout takeover.
Exactly. Those jobs are definitely being impacted by AI.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was just at the grocery store the other day, and there was like only one lane open with an actual cashier. The rest were all self-checkout.
Yeah, that's becoming the norm, isn't it? AI is really changing the face of retail.
For sure, for sure. So it's not just those entry-level jobs either, right? What about more, I don't know, analytical roles? Are they safe from AI?
Well, that's where it gets interesting. Because even roles like market research analysts, especially those just starting out, they're facing some challenges from AI.
Really? I would have thought those analytical jobs would be, kind of safe. Why are they at risk?
Well, AI is becoming incredibly good at analyzing tons of data, like spotting trends and finding patterns,
Okay.
and it can do it way faster than any human.
So like those entry-level analysts, they really got to bring something special to the table.
Exactly. They need to be adaptable, figure out how to use those AI tools to their advantage, interpret the data, and offer those insights that the algorithms just can't.
It's not just about the numbers anymore. It's about understanding what's behind them, that human element.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of jobs that need that human touch, let's talk truck drivers.
Oh yeah, self-driving trucks, that's a whole other can of worms.
Right. It's not sci-fi anymore. They're out there being tested, refined, and, well, that could have a huge impact on the trucking industry.
Yeah, it's kind of mind-blowing to think about driverless trucks just cruising down the highway.
I know, right?
So what's the timeline on this? When are we going to see these things everywhere?
It's hard to say for sure. Some experts think widespread adoption could happen within the next decade, while others say it'll take longer.
Okay.
But one thing's for certain, this technology is coming, and it's going to have a big impact on, well, a lot of people.
Millions of truck drivers, yeah.
Exactly. So, it makes you wonder, where does this leave all of us? If AI can potentially do so much, what's the role of human workers in the future?
Right. Is it all doom and gloom?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? And honestly, there's no easy answer.
Yeah.
You got to remember, AI is a tool. It's up to us to decide how we use it.
That's a good point. It's easy to get caught up in all the fear, but we should be thinking about how to, make AI work for us.
Exactly. And that's where the whole idea of augmentation comes in. It's not about AI versus humans. It's about AI and humans working together.
I like that. Like a partnership, not a competition.
Right. But the question then becomes, how do we make sure this partnership benefits everyone, not just a select few?
Yeah, how do we make sure no one gets left behind?
That's huge GE. We got to make sure everyone has access to the education and training they need to thrive in this new AI-powered world.
Right. We need to level the playing field.
Absolutely. And we got to think about the ethical side of things too. Make sure these technologies are being used responsibly.
So it's not just about adapting to AI, it's about shaping how AI is developed and used.
Exactly. We need to be having these conversations now, to make sure everyone benefits.
It can't be an afterthought.
No way. We need open and honest discussions about the risks and the rewards of AI, and we got to work together to create a future where AI empowers us, not replaces us.
I'm with you on that. We can't just sit back and wait to see what happens. We got to be proactive, and
Yeah.
shape the future we want to see.
100%. And part of that is understanding which tasks and jobs are most vulnerable to automation so we can start preparing ourselves and future generations for the changes ahead.
So it's not just about learning new tech skills. It's about developing those uniquely human qualities that AI just can't replicate.
You got it. Think about it this way. If AI can take over all those tedious, repetitive tasks, it frees us up to focus on things that require empathy, intuition, creativity.
The things that make us human.
Exactly. And that brings us back to Chandra's idea of AI as a task reallocator. It's not always about eliminating jobs. It's about changing the nature of work itself.
So some things are going to disappear,
Yeah.
but new things will pop up, and we got to be ready to, roll with it.
That's the name of the game. And it might seem scary, but think about the possibilities, right? When we have these powerful AI tools and the time to focus on what makes us human, well, that's where the magic happens.
I love that. AI is basically giving us a chance to redefine work, create new roles, and solve problems in ways we can't even imagine yet.
And it all starts with a simple question. If AI could take over all that boring, repetitive stuff, what would you do with the extra time and energy? What would you create? What problems would you solve?
Wow, that's a really powerful question. We should all be asking ourselves that, right? It's not about being afraid of the future. It's about grabbing hold of it and shaping it into something better.
I think that's what makes Chandra's insights so valuable. She's not just analyzing the trends, she's pushing us to get involved, think critically, and be ready for whatever comes next.
And for our listeners, if you want to learn more about Chandra and her work, definitely check her out on LinkedIn. Just search for Chandra Mast at Red Rose Appraisals in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania.
She's a wealth of knowledge and a real inspiration for anyone, trying to navigate this whole future of work thing.
Absolutely. And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the top jobs at risk from AI. We hope it's given you a better understanding of what's happening and maybe even inspired you to think differently about the role of AI in your own life and career.
Remember, the future isn't something that just happens to us. We create it.
Until next time, stay curious, keep exploring, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.